Understanding trafficking in our rural communities. Human trafficking can happen within any community, tribal community, town, city, or state. Narratives, imagery, and messaging aimed at building awareness or training professionals often rely on facts, methods, and approaches to trafficking and exploitation that occurs in cities. As a result, rural service providers are trained to identify red flags and indicators that may not even reflect what is happening in their own community. Professionals and service providers in rural communities have a deep understanding of their communities and are uniquely positioned to identify how certain characteristics of rural settings can impact the way in which trafficking and exploitation occur. What are the unique characteristics of trafficking in rural communities? Geographical isolation contributes to a delay in intervention and lack of opportunities to identify human trafficking. For example, if an at-risk youth decides to run away from an unsafe situation, it would be miles until they reach safety. The closest shelter, supportive services, or youth home could even be in the next town over or farther. In addition, many rural towns do not have public transportation, making it difficult to access services far away without a car. Truck stops and state-operated rest areas are common in rural communities. These locations are often isolated, making them convenient places for transient customers to exploit vulnerable youth and adults. The cultural characteristics of a rural community also play a role. Often in small towns, everyone knows each other and their personal business. Close ties among community members can lead to uncertainty or fear about what will happen once a victim reports exploitation. Additionally, there is an added layer of complexity when it comes to understanding trafficking and exploitation in Native and Indigenous communities. Native and Indigenous people are disproportionately impacted by trafficking and exploitation. Historical acts of violence and oppression against Native and Indigenous people have resulted in community-level trauma and systemic harms today. Additionally, the complex nature of federal, state, and tribal law, jurisdiction, and an unwillingness by local and federal law enforcement to investigate or dedicate resources to human trafficking crimes involving Native victims has led to a breakdown of trust and cooperation between tribes and local law enforcement agencies. Victims of human trafficking in rural communities can be of any age or gender. Their traffickers are often from the same or nearby communities and may even be a relative, neighbor, or well-connected community member. We are all connected. In rural communities, the unique characteristics of our community means that trafficking and exploitation occur differently. However, by increasing community connectedness within local and Native communities, we can better understand how trafficking happens and how best to work together to meet the needs of victims and survivors.